Hi, everybody. I'm Annette, and I'm a compulsive overeater. And I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the gray sheet. I write them down. I commit them to my sponsor, like all of you do. I only eat those meals. I don't eat in between, no matter what. And abstinence is the most important thing in my life, without exception. And I'm abstinent and grateful still since January 20, 2016. And so I just celebrated 5 years. And that's by the grace of God, truly by the grace of God, and the power of this community. And and you know, I I've been in Gray Sheet since March 9th, 1999. That was my first abstinent state, and I had a relapse on January 19th of 2016, and so that's why my abstinence date is the 20th. And I've been maintaining a weight loss of about 75 pounds, give or, up and down how that happens over the years. And I'll just be honest, I am not a fan of sharing or qualifying. It feels scary to me even today. And the negative thoughts that come into my head are like, my story's kind of boring. It's the same thing, and I've shared it a million times, and most people have heard it. And I just really don't know how to make it any more exciting than it is. But it is what it is. But what's important is that I show up and share what, my experience, strength, and hope, because people did that for me. The person that when I was new in 99, there were only phone meetings back then. I was in a community that didn't have gray sheet meetings. And the first person I heard qualify on a phone meeting is on this meeting tonight. And I remember her saying that somewhere in the world, somebody is weighing and measuring their food. Somewhere at any given time, there's somebody weighing and measuring their food. And somehow that was just so comforting to me, because there were times when in my head, I have all these, conversations that would go on in my head about, well, this is silly. What are people going to think of me? And all that. And I would think, there's people that are just amazing in this program, and they're abstinent for years. And the person that came to my OA How meeting that said the mantra and rocked my world. I'd been in that meeting for 10 years and was at an all-time high weight. And she said the mantra, and that's, the rest is history. She agreed to sponsor me, and I committed my first meal. And I thought that I had no faith whatsoever that I would be able to be abstinent for 5 minutes, let alone a day, or one meal. I was absent. The obsession was lifted immediately. And I think that it's because in the beginning I was so busy being meticulous about weighing and measuring and the mechanics and doing everything right, and not eating between anything, not popping anything into my mouth. So the only thing I knew to do was chew gum 24/7 so that I wouldn't eat, especially when I was preparing food and stuff. And the obsession was lifted, and I knew within a few days. It's like I had one day, maybe I can do 2 days, and then I had 2 days, like maybe I can do another day. And it just went like that up to 30 days and 60 days and 90 days. And it was miraculous to me, because I was having the hardest time, and I knew there was a God. I just was the kind of compulsive overeater that thought that I was a little worse than all of you, and God just didn't love me. Everybody else was good, but I was just flawed and didn't deserve to be happy. And my default was self-pity, and I lived in it, and I had no self-esteem. And I had, I was in a program where we were supposed to weigh and measure, most of the time, for 10 years. And I did a lot of work in that program, and all that writing, all the questions that they do there. And I worked that really hard and had periods of abstinence, but there was nothing. If for me, if I don't have the food down consistently, every time I slipped, which was constantly, and had a bite, and then, I didn't, days would go by of just relapse and torture, and with the food and me abusing myself with food and my thoughts and the self-loathing, you know, it would start it all over again, and I could never get long-term recovery. And Gray Sheet, God, I love Gray Sheet. It teaches us that we don't eat in between. We weigh and measure it. We commit it. We love our food. It's important to love our food. We eat it without guilt, and it's committed. And we, you know, totally recommend physical abstinence before anything can happen. You know, it takes physical abstinence before this can stop. And, you know, my higher power, that I had for years, I thought I had a relationship, but it got pretty sick on my end. I was just begging God all the time to just remove the obsession, and maybe unwilling to do the work. I don't know. You know, for me, I had to be ready for when the teacher appeared. You know, when that person came, I was desperate enough to do anything, to go to any lengths. And so when I heard that mantra, for some reason, I was so relieved that it's like, there's something else that I haven't tried, and I was willing. And so, you know, my higher power removed the obsession and helped me get through the early days of abstinence. And it was just miraculous to me. I just couldn't believe that I was not eating, and I could go into my kitchen and make a meal without slipping, constantly, you know, having a relapse, and hiding and cheating and sneaking and trying to get away with it. And, you know, who am I trying to get, you know, like, it's not as if my family didn't know. But I thought I was pulling the wool over their eyes. I don't know. But, you know, what became most important is how I felt about me, and that I was doing this. And every, you know, we build those abstinent muscles where the respect grows, the self-respect was growing. And I started to feel good about me, and I could start to smile and feel, you know, not just grateful, but wow, I'm abstinent. And it's the most wonderful feeling in the world. And it's like walking on the sunny side of the street and without my legs rubbing. You know, what could be better? You know, it's like, you know, and it was all about physical abstinence in the beginning, and then just that huge awareness that there was a higher power helping me to somehow continue this a day at a time. You know, one day at a time, no matter what, was really important to me. And I don't know, the no matter what, just, I never heard that before Gray Sheet. And I don't know why, but no one ever said that before. And anyway, I just, you know, for me, it's always been important to show up and to get involved in service so that other people can have this. You know, I mean, what I know is how miserable I was, and how, you know, my heart just aches for people that need this program and don't even know about it, or they need this program. I have people in my life, in my everyday life, in my other programs that want this program but aren't willing to go to any length. And they talked about it. You know, they talked to Darcy, and I'm grateful I have a partner that I'm, you know, my spouse, you know, that I'm married to is a Gray Sheeter. And I was in Gray Sheet for 8 years before she got abstinent. But, you know, that is another added gift. You know, I can't even say what a gift that is to be in a house that's a total Gray Sheet, clean, abstinent house. But, you know, I did for years. I wasn't, you know, I mean, it was just me, and I had kids, and I cooked, and, you know, we're able to do that kind of thing. Even, you know, that's what just shocked me when I was new, is I'm able to make these things for my kids, but I knew that was not my food. Anyway, I'm jumping around. Sorry about that. But I lost my train of thought. It's so scary leading a meeting. Anyway, I just got into service work because I didn't want people to feel like I felt. I wanted there to be a solution for everybody. You know, when I see somebody in the despair, and you can sometimes, when people are eating out in the world or in our families, you can see the despair that they're not even really enjoying their food. You know, I know that. And I know that all of you know that, and that's what makes it easier to share in a meeting, is because you're my people, and other people don't get that. And there are people that do get it, but they're not ready to stop. And that's like really hard to watch. But, you know, all I can do is make sure that I continue to weigh and measure and work my program, and do the best I can to be an example that this program works, you know. And, you know, it's not for everybody. I mean, it's not for everybody, and it's sad to me, but it's like, don't you want what we have? Don't you see how amazing this is? Don't you see that we're not starving? It's not a diet, you know. This is where we have abundant, delicious food, and we get all excited about our food whenever the conversation turns to food, and we all love to talk about what we eat and what we love. And it's not like a diet where we're deprived, you know. There's no deprivation at all. It's wonderful. But you know, that's just the food. So anyway, as a child, you know, I was a little chubby thing from my earliest memories at age 5, and I, you know, to be able to be in a normal sized body for the last coming up on 22 years is just incredible to me. It's a gift. And I know that, you know, and I've had long, slow weight gains, and then had food taken away, and long, you know, then the weight loss again. I mean, that's what maintenance and long-term abstinence is like, you know. And it's no big deal, because I know that it's in my sponsor's hands. I tell her my weight, and you know, we just go from there. I don't have to worry that I'm going to get too skinny or gain too much weight. It's like, it's not mine, you know. I just what I get to do is choose the foods from the gray sheet that I love, and go from there. And the rest is not in my hands. I turn it over to my sponsor and my higher power, and you know, my life is the food is just over here. And then there's my life, and working steps, and doing service work, and doing all the things that we do in Gray Sheet, and showing up in meetings. And you know, I've started meetings in where I live, and now it's on Zoom. And actually we for about 5 years, we've taken our local meeting, which was small, like 5 to 7 people, and had
12 minutes.
12?
12,
Is it
12, yeah.
Thank you. And we've made it into a Zoom outpost meeting. So we invited people. So we've been doing that for years anyway. And so this is just like the natural transition now that we're all on Zoom. You know, it'll be great someday soon, when we get to have live meetings again. But since then I've moved, so we'll have to start a whole new meeting. We're in our new community, which is great. You know, it's like, it's what we do, and there are other GreySheeters in the area, so it's not going to be difficult. I just want to say that, you know, something that I've been doing is doing an 11-step practice every morning, and with a group, and doing meditation, journaling and meditation. And all I can say about that is that it's really helping me. I've done a lot of AWOLs through the years, and working an 11-step in the morning, and checking in with my higher power, and having a conscious contact, and building a relationship with my higher power, and in a group setting, has really been amazing. And it's helping me really see through the day. It gives me it's been helping me have that time to pause, right when when I get an attitude about something, or I'm going to fall into a character defect, or act out on one. I have the opportunity. I'm noticing it more and more. I'm so grateful for that. You know, this program, working the steps and with a sponsor and doing AWOLs has, you know, I was in AA first and Al-Anon both, and I have worked the steps and things like that in those programs, but it wasn't until I got Gray Sheet Abstinent that my step work really, I feel like it's really helped me become my more authentic self, I guess. It's like, you know, chipping away at things where, you know, like the low self-esteem and finding out that that's actually grandiose, you know. You know, yes, I am. So I'm a codependent kind of person in the core, but also that's actually grandiose because it just means I'm thinking of myself all the time anyway and wondering what you think of me and wanting to please you. And this program is the most amazing program for helping when the food is out of the way and we're abstinent and we're committing our food daily. You know, it's we don't just, you know, stay away from the bar or whatever. I mean, we are working our program every single meal that we weigh and measure, and I'm learning how to weigh and measure my life and my decisions and my thoughts and the things that I do in the day. And you know, my life is just becoming so amazing and peaceful, and it's incredible to me that that I'm starting to see that. And it doesn't mean it's going to be rosy all the time, and it's not rosy all the time. I'm just able to cope better because I have an abstinent, physically abstinent mind, and I'm working on my spiritual program and you know, working to be emotionally abstinent and sober. And thank you, Danielle. And you know, it's like the promises are so they're coming true in my life, and there's more promises. It's like within Gray Sheet we have more promises than the big book can even describe, you know. And I'm so grateful that, you know, as a community, as a program, that we're writing literature now, because I can't wait to see what we everything that we come up with, because you know, hopefully it's going to provide hope for all the newcomers and people out there that are struggling with their food, and people in the room. Sometimes we struggle, you know, and so hopefully you know, we'll have some place to turn on the dark days, because they happen. You know, there are times when life is really, really painful, but we have each other. I have all of you, and we show up at meetings and talk about it, and we don't have to pretend that everything's great. We can say what's really going on. I mean, I love the meetings that I go to where people are completely real, and it allows me to be real. And so I just thank you for allowing me to share. and and thank you for the 5 years of abstinence that I have. I feel like I have an amazing life, and yet it's just a simple simple abstinent life, and I'm blessed. I don't know what else to say. I'm blessed. So thank you.